I see you, peekaboo, I see you, looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you walking alone, the streets are empty. The only thing I can see is my own silhouette. I'm getting stronger, step by step. The clock is ticking, but there's no time for regrets. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Feel like a dynamite, ready to explode right up in the sky. I need you to listen, I need you to hear, and don't show any fear. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. Yeah. We are heroes tonight. We will fly above the sky. We are heroes tonight. I've been flying from town to town, from London to Taiwan. I've been all around the globe, trying to protect your soul.
It's playoff season, baby. We got the quarterfinals coming on down for the Immortal League. We got our number 1 seed out of Group B, Akuma Scythes, going on up against the number 4 seed, Dorado Gaming, coming out of Group A. If you would like to go check out, we have some other teams in the organization streaming out their matches. Drop Dead Gaming up against Art of War. If you are in our Discord server, there is a link for that. If not, just go to Drop Dead Gaming TTV, where they are streaming their match. And we also have a little bit of an update that Team XYZ was up 1-0 versus the Emberwolf. So lots of action happening around the playoffs.
Ooh, maybe.
But we're going to focus on this match. And Ty, we've seen these players time and time again. What were we going to be expecting?
Honestly, this team, the Akuma Scythes, is very much the favorite going into this, especially as we get all the way into playoffs here. And I gotta say, we have to watch this bot lane like a hawk. Keyboarder and On Your Chest have been playing so unbelievably well. I think Keyboarder has some of the best AD carry play in the league, has an incredibly high KDA here, and it's been very, very consistent for the team. But on top of that, Vietnamese Caps has been a rock for this team. So unbelievably consistent, so willing to just continue to play towards a win condition at all points of the game. I mean, you see so much Lee Sin mastery on this team here, but what we do see from this team is no Lee Sin. Instead, it is simply just whatever it is the team needs in the moment. Riddy, on the other hand, also willing to just play a ton of crazy extra things. I mean, the Talia is a huge power pick for this team, and being able to flex it between the mid and the jungle is also a very, very strong thing here. So as we continue into this series, I'm particularly excited to see what Dorado Gaming Gamma has in store to deal with the Akuma Scythes.
Yeah, you know, we're going to be looking at this bot side. Nukes and Odin. They're going to be going up against, like we've mentioned, Keyboarder and all that. We've hyped these kind of players up time and time again. So it's going to be up to how can they stop Keyboarder? How can they stop this team from being able to come on out? I'm going to be expecting to see a little bit of a misfortune. You know, Nukes has been playing it time and time again here. Odin has been spamming a little bit of the Poppy support. That could be somewhat of an answer to a potential, like, Diego, Leona, exactly, like things that want to.
I mean, everyone and their moms picking Leona nowadays.
That is so true. That is so true. But this Dorado Gaming Gamma team,
champion's good.
I mean, yeah. The champion is pretty solid. So I'm gonna be really. I think that we might have a little bit of an upset. I don't know. I feel like Dorado are gonna take at least us. If they don't take us to game 5, I think that they can take it. I think Dorado can definitely take it if they play their cards right and they play, you know, don't let this bot lane get ahead. Try and get some prio picks into the bot lane, shut down Keyboarder, get Prow to gank down to the bot side, get, like, let's say you draft a Kai'Sa here or something, get that Kai'Sa ahead early on and then allow her to just snowball that lead against the enemy AD carry. That can allow you to kind of set your sights towards the rest of the map.
Honestly, I don't disagree. I mean, Dorado Gaming Gamma going to do their best to try to make that upset, and we did see the Akuma Scythes take on Dorado Gaming Alpha a couple weeks ago. So, you know, going to be able to just get as much information between the two teams in that organization, going to try to just give as much info back and forth between the two teams here, and that could be the key to really finding an opportunity to make that upset. That being said, I'm still going to favor the Akuma Scythes for a not easily fought, but likely a hard fought 3-0 if it does come down to it. But that being said, LeBlanc taken off the table. I will say, I don't think anyone's really playing LeBlanc in this meta. We were literally just talking about this right before that broadcast.
LeBlanc support is a thing, Anti. I don't think it's coming out tonight, but it is a thing.
It's spicy.
It's really stupid that it works. I think it's a solo queue only thing. If I'm being quite honest, I think it's just a solo queue only thing because supports are tired of being carried, and so they're just locking LeBlanc and just carrying the hell out of their ADCs. I think that's genuinely what's happening. But anyway, speaking of things happening, this Dorado Gaming team, you know, you mentioned Dorado Gaming Alpha a little bit earlier. They also have a giant to defeat today because they are going up against Omega Yeet List. The other 5-0 team. Yep, so the Dorado Gaming squad are fighting the two titans of the Titan Esports Immortal League right now. Will we have an upset on either side? Who knows, but, you know, it could get a little spicy.
Yeah, right now, all we need to focus on, though, is this match in particular here. And what we are seeing is the Viego and the Ezreal coming on out early on, which means that you have the opportunity to pick up a heavy roaming support, like the Leona, like the Poppy, like the Alistar, right? You know, so much ability. Just leave this Ezreal alone. And in the meantime, the Rumble and the Jace going to get picked up, so likely going to be Jace that Rumble mid? Top, Jace mid.
What?
Oh, this is a Rumble.
Is this Rumble
support? I don't
know.
This could be Rumble support. This could very well be a Rumble jungle. This is still a little bit up in the air. You got to be pretty careful with it. But In the meantime, Greg is going to be doing just fine. Could still slot into support, could still slot into mid, could still slot into the top lane. So we've got potential flexes for a lot of this team here. And not just one team, but the other as well. Zeri going to get taken off the table, looking to be even more AD carry bans, as you know, Misfortune and Ash, two of the OPs on the patch, going to be removed here. I would love to see another AD carry ban. I mean, maybe we see... poor Loki. Poor Loki. I was going to say, you know...
Man.
I was going to say maybe we see something like a Lucian ban to try to deny the Lucian Nami from threatening the Ezreal at all times, but instead it is going to be the Kai'Sa, knocking out things like the Kai'Sa Nautilus. So here we go. I'm guessing we're going to be getting a support pick here, but it's the Aurora instead.
Okay. There's nothing about this draft that is being said that anything here is standard at the moment. This could be Aurora top, Aurora mid, it could be Gragas mid, Gragas top, either or could work out. There, we finally have at least an 80 carry. You know, we know that on the side of Dorado, that's going into the bot lane. Maybe we have a support pick here. It's quite possible. Oh, there, Leona. Okay.
Oh, okay. So not
Rumble
Aurora.
Rumble jungle, Jace top, Renekton mid, or Jace mid, Renekton top.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the two. I'm guessing it's Jace mid, Renekton top, but I will say the Leona and the Rel going to get picked up here with relatively self-sufficient AD carries means that these AD carries are very much going to be left behind, and we're going to be seeing roams all across the map. And when it comes down to the 1v1, Keyboarder and Nukes are going to have to play it very, very safe because, as we've said, right, these supports are so willing to just roam across the map, make things happen. But once you get back to bot lane, once you get the chance to gank your own lane, is when things really start to come online here. And, you know, we had a little bit of an Aurora jump scare. Instead, it is going to be that Cassiopeia is going to be able to stop a lot of the dashes. And not only that, be able to provide a ton of magic damage DPS here. So, in the very end, I do believe the Akuma sides have a pretty interesting death ball composition here. It's a mixture between the hit R button and the skirmish button. Meanwhile, the Dorado Gaming Gamma squad seems to really be focused on the heavy skirmishes. Like, you have some poke available when it comes to the Jace, when it comes to the Jhin, but a lot of it is we catch one person out, we get some heavy skirmishing going down on very self-sufficient solo laner. So 1-3-1 versus full 5-man composition, and it should be interesting to see how things do pan out.
Yeah, I really like the Cass pick here because Renekton, Jace, Leona, all going to be wanting to jump on in, and if Cass is not the one engaged upon, say it's Riddy on the Viego or even Grim on this Gragas, then the ultimate from the Cassiopeia could be pretty devastating if they are not prepared to be able to counter that. And so they've got to have to find these angles to get onto this mage and deny her from being able to shut down this this full-on engaged death, like kind of death ball-ish that Dorado kind of wants to go for here. But in terms of draft, I have to lean a lot more towards the side of Akuma with their draft, just because, like, I think that I'm looking at it from a perspective, you know, on your chest roaming on up to fight these objectives. I think that they're going to be a lot stronger in the early game, in those 3v3s, in those 4v4s, because the Rumble in the jungle, it's great pick, but as we know, a couple patches ago, Rumble's early game damage was pretty hard nerfed. So he's not going to have the damage that Riddy will on this Viego early on. And so if Caps, Riddy, and On Your Chest move towards these Ward Grubs, and it's Prow, Kerrigan, and Odin, I'm going to start favoring Akuma.
Yeah, honestly, I'm inclined to agree with you. I think that the Akuma team have a very good team composition really built up here, because the big thing is once you do have to fight around objectives, the Akuma sides just have so much 5v5 damage. And right now, you know, Renekton versus the Gragas, a classic matchup in the top lane. Just gonna get some quick trades between the two of them. Renekton always going to be looking to poke down the Grag, but Grag, on the other hand, super fine, just gonna be on the edge there when it comes to the constant healing on your chest. Might have a little bit of an issue over there, but it's, just gonna pop right back into play. Nothing too crazy going on for level 1 just yet.
Yeah, and Akuma in this bot side keyboard and chest, they realistically don't want anything crazy happening because the rel, if nothing happens in lane, you're perfectly fine with that. You got to be careful with these early rel engages, especially level 1, because if you don't have a guaranteed dismount, then you could basically just die, especially against the Leona. So if nothing realistically happens in this lane, both keyboarder and on your chest are okay with that. Nukes and Odin, not necessarily as okay, because Jin has seen a little bit more spike in play, but when it comes to these team fights, he's sitting on a 4 auto cooldown. You got to be able to burst someone down. You're going to burst down Grim or on your chest, who are going to be taking the more brunt of the frontline damage. Probably not. Where keyboarder is going to be able to sit back and relax, essentially, with Vietnamese caps and just pump out Mystic Shots. So if it goes even, I believe that keyboarder is just going to be perfectly fine. As we have first blood in the mid lane, I hope we have that on replay so we can see what actually happened. But holy, I was not expecting a Cassio first blood.
I mean, that's exactly what I was saying, Solancho. Vietnamese caps, the absolute rock for this team here. Always going to be in a good position. A little whiff on the body slam from Grim there, but nothing too crazy just yet. We will be getting that replay down sooner or later here, but I gotta say, right, constant trades in the top lane is something that I always do like to see, but welcome to competitive League of Legends. It's not just going to be a 1v1 unless you're Vietnamese caps. It is just damage on damage there. In the meantime, Flash is burned out of the Renekton in the top lane, and no Flash into Grag could mean dangerous things are abound here, but Grasp Gragas doesn't necessarily have the same kind of lethal ability.
Two junglers are going to end up meeting. Prowl's going in with the Flame Spitter, trying to burn up Riddy. The Renekton and Gragas were simultaneously responding. Both these junglers kind of want to try and fight this tier. Got to be careful, though. Riddy is going to be forced on out. Does not have that topside prio, and Vietnamese caps just now got back into lane. Prow is going to continue to push on forward. Maybe just wants to help shove out this way. Maybe they're looking for some sort of dive. Either way, Riddy is sticking around just in case anything goes awry.
Yeah, and in the end, it is just going to be this wave getting fully shoved into tower. I doubt we're going to get too much more than that. You really cannot deny the tower push from a Rumble, but there we go. The Renekton not going to instantly lose lane based off of Wade's state alone. In the meantime, bot lane going to be going a little back and forth. Nukes and Odin going to be picking up that small CS lead to start things off, though.
For sure. And that's basically where you want to be here in this lane. Obviously, keyboarder and chest, you would love to be poking out Odin and Nukes. You'd love to be being that lane bully that we know Ezreal can be. But with that Leonie on the opposite side, you can't really force anything realistically because it's just a better champion early on than the Rel will be. So I'm going to be hoping to see, as neutrals have been spawned up now, chests start to move towards these next objectives. It's looking as though Riddy is moving a bit more towards the top side. Maybe wants to prioritize these grubs with a mid lane prio, as Vietnamese caps does have a kill. He can shove up this wave. Grim is still has TP as well, so he can shove that wave. Recall, TP back to lane. Realistically, won't lose out much of anything. So it makes sense to kind of prioritize this, especially when there's a Renekton on the opposite side. You don't want to have that split pushing threat with those Void Mites coming online. And you want to give those over to a Gragas, especially because Gragas with Demo Proc could be detrimental towards the split pushing prowess of this team. As Grim is going for full on, commits the ultimate there, maybe thinking Riddy was a little bit closer to help for the follow-up, but instead just wants to push Hazem straight on out of the lane, and hopefully that can open up Prio for the first objective, while Prow has moved down and has already begun the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, it is just going to be a battle of priorities here. And the Akuma side's very much prioritizing that tower taking, very much just going to be looking for those Void Grubs. And this is exactly why you have Keyboarder on a self-sufficient AD carry, so you can just let your supports just roam around on your chest, trying to make something happen. But with Prow in the area, it is very much going to just get dropped off here. Not too much in terms of the healing and shielding on the side of Dorado here. So Akuma side's very happy to just give up that Chemtech Drake for the Void Grubs. Should be doing more than fine here. But you always have to be super careful about that dragon stacking win condition. So first drag being given up is fine. Second drag could be doable, but once you start getting into the realm of soul points is when things are going to be particularly rough. In the meantime, Hazem and Grim are just going toe-to-toe, just hitting each other again and again here. And I will say, Hazem is playing these trades very smartly and, you know, timing these cooldowns very, very well, but it is still going to be the Gragas coming out on top. There's just so much healing here, and look at this 1v1 in the top lane.
Oh, Grim has to burn out the flash, so soon he'll have a little bit of an advantage there, Hazem, but the dominance is going to end up going down, and Grim's about to have the ulti back online. Riddy is starting to roam up toward the top side too, trying to stack up that rage meter, Hazem, just to get the heal proc. Speaking of heal procs, next dragon is going to be an ocean dragon, one you don't want to give over to a Renekton. Meanwhile, we have a mid lane gank happening. Cassiopeia commits the ultimate, has to burn out the flash, goes flash for flash with Kerrigan, who almost eats turret shots and falls once again to the enemy mid laner.
Yeah, and in the meantime, bot lane just going to be getting shoved in. We've got action all across the map, except for this bot lane. It's a little bit of a snooze fest down here, but when you've got Ezreal and Jhin, honestly, what do you expect, right? Nothing too crazy gonna be going on here. So much defensive prowess from both of these teams here. Grim and Hazem, on the other hand, just constantly going to be going at it.
Riddy's coming up. Grim has the ultimate. The knockback's going to be perfect. Hazem is set up for a potential kill-off. Stun's going to end up landing into the knock-up, and Hazem falls by Riddy's hand. A huge topside prio gank coming out online for Akuma.
Yeah, huge amount of prio going to be gained off of that gank here, but we're getting a little bit of fight in the bot.
Odin, Magnus Storm committed! The Solar Flare is going to come straight on down, but nothing's able to come up of it. Both Ignites committed out of post supports. Meanwhile, look at the mid lane. Brow with the roam gank timer once again is able to find Vietnamese caps. I mean, why wouldn't he come back? He did not have flash online, so it was a perfect gank angle.
I mean, you get one solo kill, you pick up a Dark Seal, and then every single target on the planet is pointed directly onto your back there. The enemy's cap's going to be going down in the mid lane, but that kill going over to Prow means that it is still going to mean a lead for Vietnamese caps, barring that CS differential here. And now, Riddy could be in a lot of trouble here. Everyone's starting to close on in.
Yup, Equalizer's gonna come on down, trying to get the slow off. The dominance is gonna be proc 2, but Riddy's got the flash, able to get on away. Dismount from Chest, trying to get a little bit of peel to help the jungler get on out, and trades up their life. Another kill given straight to Kerrigan there. And that should potentially open up the next set of Void Grubs that'll be spawning here shortly. And so you're not gonna be able to at least get the full Void Mites if you are Akuma. But maybe you could look to bounce back with the next dragon, because it is up in about a minute and a half.
Definitely a possibility here, but in the meantime, Kerrigan trying to get a bit of damage onto caps, so that way they can actually threaten the lethal. But as always, Vietnamese caps going to play it very safe, not going to be taking too much in response here. Just going to look to pick up that wave, as both AD carries are just going to be farming it up in that bot lane, like Stardew Valley over here, as there's just nothing really going on down there. But in top lane, hold on,
Grim, that's the wrong tower. You don't want to be under that one. And Grim's gonna find a solo bolo against his top lane counterpart. is absolutely starting to run away with the lead that Riddy has helped him set up in this top side. Meanwhile, bot lane's looking like everybody is coming for the party. We got Dragon coming up in about 40 seconds. Riddy's going to be around towards this bot side. Chest and Keyboarder have already roomed up just to try and take a little bit of river prioritization. Maybe they're looking for some sort of mid lane gank. Kerrigan's coming in, looking to be able to potentially check. Is going to spot the enemy support and jungler. But now Riddy's charging up a recall. Prow is coming back from base straight to this bot side. Wants to contest this dragon. 20 seconds till it will be up and online. And now is Riddy going to run straight back to it? He's got the Borg finished up. Do they want to prioritize this? The pings are coming down. Vietnamese Caps is TPing on in. Needs to get that wave shoved out as quickly as possible. But Keyboard and On Your Chest have lost wave priority. They're going to have to try and shove out this next wave. And with Prow already there, they're susceptible to potential gank. And that might be what's going to potentially happen. Chest and Keyboard are forced to back off away from the wave. Prow is looking for a little bit of a wrap around the tower, but the pings are going to be coming out now. So even if Akuma decides to contest this dragon, it would be a 4v3 because Vietnamese Caps has yet to respond to the enemy mid laner roam. So it's looking like they're just going to have to give.
And we're not going to see the true shot barrage steal. Instead, it is going to be everyone onto Vietnamese Caps.
Huge ultimate out of Caps, though. Coming in with the Magnet Storm is On Your Chest. Caps is 1 HP. Nuke's looking for the 4 shots. Gonna be able to flash for it. Kerrigan is dropped extremely weak. Ignite tick away. No, it's not gonna be able to find him. Keyboarder is now in a ton of trouble. Does not have the Arcane Shift back online. Just yet. Chest is able to find Kerrigan. Cleaning that one up. Curtain Call is going to be coming on up, and 2 shots from Nukes are going to find the enemy support. So overall, a little bit of a better trade-off, I would say, for Dorado Gaming Gamma. They're going to move up to take the next Void Grubs as well.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Grim and Hazem getting a chance to play some 1v1s in that top lane, and it is going to be the Drunk Man coming out on top every single time. 2 kills under his belt, has the fully finished Rod of Ages here, and that's so much priority. These Void Grubs are still contestable for the side of the Akuma sides, but with 3 members strong, the Dorado Gaming Gamma squad is going to be able to just fully take this one. Now they've got 2 dragons on their belt. They're equalizing the Void Grub takes, and it's getting rougher and rougher for the side of the Akuma sides here. But the gold, at the very least, is kept very even between the 2.
Yeah, and you got to give props to Grim there, because I think that he's got the majority of the gold for the side of... Wait, they gave one away!
Oh!
What? A reset? Oh, it might be a fumble by Dorado. Oh, no!
All right, well, either way, Akuma side is going to take what they can get there. Not going to go with that smite, but look at this. Petrifying Gaze across 3, but instead, Vietnamese Caps is still taking so much damage on the back foot. Flash forward from Nukes to fully guarantee it. Meanwhile, On Your Chest and Keyboarder just cannot deal with Nukes and Odin in this super disjointed fight here. But flash forward from On Your Chest to get the kill back on to that mid laner here. And in the meantime, top lane has just been a result of constant good trades. Grim just always able to come out on top with so much healing on that Gragas, especially with that Rod of Ages finish. Tons of healing, tons of damage, and an unreasonable amount of tankiness for a champion that does this much damage to you, as the Gragas has been a phenomenal pick in the top lane.
Nope, the Gragas is in the bot lane now. We have a little bit of a lane swap happening kind of all across the board. Keyboarder has been moved on up to the top side, where Kerrigan will be matching for the time being. And the top laners have decided they want to be the AD carries for the time being. They're going to move on to the bot side. Maybe Hazem likes the bot side a little bit more. So maybe that's where Hazem's going to find maybe an angle to come out on top against Griff. Who knows?
Yeah,
but...
I mean, at the very least, it's going to have to come after that Black Cleaver is finished here, because Hazem has honestly been in a huge rough situation here. It's 0-3 on the Renekton, a champion that genuinely needs so much of that early gold, so much of that early pressure here. But in the meantime, Riftshell going to get started up, and yet another neutral objective looking to get taken by the Akuma sides. In the meantime, bot lane, Hazem really does happen to just be suffering at every single moment.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Dorado are going to take up the Rift Herald Hero, maybe looking to just bring it straight mid. I mean, that tower is essentially 1 HP right now, and that could open up Prio going into this next dragon. They're about to be sitting on Soul Point. They definitely want to take as many resources across the map and set themselves up perfectly in position-wise to take this next dragon. They want to sit on Soul Point. They've taken essentially a majority of the objectives this game. Yes, they fumbled the bag a little bit on those Void Mites, but will it end up mattering? Who knows, as we have the rest of the game to play on out. Reddy's moved down into the river already. He's going to find himself in front of Hazem and Prowess. The Equalizer is going to be coming on up, slowing down Reddy. Dominance from Hazem is going to be procced, and the Shroud from Reddy just trying to get on out and away. So they at least burned out Hazem's dominance. Maybe that could open up an angle to be able to re-engage for this dragon. Recall out of Grimm's coming down, has TP. Mid lane is up to Keyboarder and Chest. Got to get this shoved out. Got to establish some sort of prio. Grimm's coming into the mid lane as well, going to help push this one on out and potentially move on down to the river. We got about 15 seconds, and it's looking as though Akuma are making the first move into the river for this dragon. Are you going to give this Dorado? Prow is on Prow is on the golems right now, so not realistically able to make it there in time if Riddy does decide to
I think they're just trading for towers. I mean, you're just getting everyone moving up to this top side, looking to try to catch whoever comes there on that rotation. And honestly, I'm surprised it is going to be Vietnamese Caps getting locked up over here, though.
Oh, over the wall. Chess comes up with the Magnet Storm, but he's locked in a 3v1 now. Unfortunately, trying to retreat at least to the tower, and Kerrigan's going to be able to find the kill. I believe that Nukes was able to pick up one during that topside scuffle as well, so they're getting this 80 carry fed as much as possible, giving him tower gold, and right now, Nukes really is your win con in this game. Nukes and Kerrigan at 100%, while Prowl is still in scaling mode. Hazem, no dominance, is going to proc it. Now the Rage Meter is going to be enough to heal. Yes! He's able to slay up Riddy. The 2v1 under the turret is going to continue to push forward onto Grim. Odin's there for a little bit of help and contestation, but Hazem is going to decide not to risk any more of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was mentioning earlier, Cilantro. Until the Black Cleaver is finished, it's going to be hard for that Crocodile to do anything. And the moment the Black Cleaver is finished, 0-3, no more, going to be able to pick up that single kill onto Riddy there. An overstep from the side of the Akuma side is going to be caught trying to spread themselves a little bit too thin, want to get a little bit of extra gold in their pockets there. I will say, I'm surprised that Dorado gave up that dragon, though. They had so much control over that river. They had so much vision and the Scuttle Crab as well, but instead, it is going to be the Akuma sides who pick up that dragon there as Prow and Co just continue to get so strong here. But look at this, right? Vietnamese Caps caught on that rotation with the Solar Flare, with the captive audience, and everyone going to be dodging that petrifying gaze. But in the end, it's going to be Vietnamese Caps once again on the stream here, and it's going to be Hazem once again off the stream here. Poor Crocodile, man, not really going to be able to survive yet another all in there. But in the meantime, the Static Shiv from Nuke's going to be able to put out so much wave clear, really going to be their only real chance to keep this mid lane tower alive.
100%. As we see Prowse coming straight on into the mid lane, wants to find a gank potential angle onto Chest and Keyboarder. He's starting to cook up Chest. The Solar Flare is going to be coming down too, and Chest is gone. Slain by Kerrigan this time around off of the Flame Spitter, cooking up the Horsey. Prow is decided that he wants to, shut down the cavalry charges, and now they're starting to ping up the Baron. Do they have enough damage to do this on start, though?
Yeah, I mean, on your chest, go in and just quietly go down, much like Cilantro's mic is right now. But as the Baron is getting started up here, Riddy is on the corner, going to try to threaten the potential for a steal, and Dorado understand and respect it. They're going to be backing off, trying to make sure that there is no chance at the potential Baron flip. And here we go, just going to return back to the mid lane, just going to pick up as much gold as possible, not going to turn that gold lead into an objective just yet, but 2,500 gold is nothing to scoff at. You got to be super, super careful at squandering this lead. That's a 400 gold shutdown available on nukes right now, so you got to be super careful. And oh my god, are the Akuma Scythes just gonna take the Baron?
It seemed like they want to try their shot at damaging up the Baron. Keyboard are shoving in as much Mystic shots as possible. It's running in really low on mana though. And they're going to take it out from under their noses. It's already down to 5k HP. Nobody is aware that they are on this. You see pings coming out now as the far side's going to spot it, but it's too late. They take the Baron with the biggest heist of the century so far of the playoffs as well.
Yeah, just like Thieves in the Night, gonna be able to take that one right under Dorado's noses. That was a T1 Baron and a half. Like, I cannot believe that they found the opportunity, they found the timing, and they just immediately swiped that one away. But now Vietnamese Caps, no defensive items here. You gotta be so careful.
Solar Flare, straight on the Vietnamese Caps, doesn't find much of anything though. There's no reinforcements coming to help him. But then again, there's 4 people to the bot side. Akuma, what can we do on the opposite side of the map? Take mid lane turret. You're going to send 4 people just to kill our Cassiopeia? That's cool. We're going to go kill your mid lane turret. We're going to meet you in the river. She's going to flank, and we're going to burst you before this dragon comes online. And then we're going to take the dragon from you. We might even take it mid tier 2.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the inside track. They have the ability to just go for it. Look at this Demolish box. So much damage coming on in. 2 towers going down, but here starts the fight.
Right on your chest. Curtain Call is going to be coming down too, but Grim's going to eat up a majority of the damage. Has to flash on out. It's getting cooked alive. Odin re-engages with the Sended Blade, but has to flash away as well. Vietnamese Caps on the flank. Gets a 3-man stun, but does he have the damage to follow up? Nukes is already falling. Kerrigan is next on the list too. This Cassiopeia is absolutely putting the poison inside of Dorado. It's a quadra kill for the mid laner. Penta? Is he gonna get it?
No, I don't think he's gonna be going for it. Vietnamese Caps still looking for the Penta, but eventually decides to give up. Decides, you know what? Prow, you can have it. You can survive. It's fine. And instead, going to get that inside track on the dragon. And I gotta say, what in the world is it with mid laners playing mages and getting these crazy flanks off? I saw it last night. We're seeing it again tonight here. And Vietnamese Caps walks in with a crazy flank, kills off nukes, kills off Kerrigan, gets a quadra kill, and gets to walk on out there. I mentioned earlier that the Cassiopeia doesn't necessarily have any defensive items per se, but when you've got a Saracen Brace and a Rod of Ages, that's defensive enough. But
Ready gets a reset to the Rumble and is starting to cook up Odin. Prow overstepped in the jungle just a little bit too much. Got a little bit too greedy trying to get the prio for this dragon, and now it will be given and gifted straight over to the Akuma Scythes. They're starting to stack up these infernal dragons, and things are starting to look pretty darn scary if you are Dorado. Momentum is starting to feel like it's all over the side of Akuma's nukes. Just gets completely engaged on by Chess with the Magnet Storm, Dismount, Shattering Strike, and they're going to continue to push this into the mid lane inhibitor. We see that Caps is in the bot side right now, trying to take the bot side tier 2. If possible, the team is going to come and support him so that he will be able to take that. So they're going to get at least a little bit more off of that kill. While the enemy
and I gotta say, Cilantro, right? Now that the game has been blown wide open, 2 Infernal Drags under the Akuma Scythes belt, this is going from bad to worse for the side of Dorado Gaming, especially because getting to your 2-item power spike, obviously pretty dang important here. But look at this. Look at these fights when you have every member of the Akuma Scythes just in the right place at the right time. Grim going down early, but Vietnamese Caps flashes in. Petrifying Gaze across 2. I have no idea how the angle was just so good at the right time there. Able to get 2 stun up, able to get a triple kill, and then just kites out Hazem. Not going to opt for that. We're seeing right now on your chest looking for the remount flash, but instead it is going to be the electric harpoons just to make sure that there's no chance at that penta. But the fact that penta is what's in the eyes of these players instead of the chance to win the entire game shows you just what a turnaround that fight was. And now you have 3 tier items fully completed for the side of the Akuma Scythes.
Yep, and we have a pause completed as well. So while we're at this pause moment, we have been updated with, some scores running across the league. Team XYZ is up 2-0 now against the Ember Wolves, maybe looking to take that full 3-0 clean sweep, while we have the other Dorado Gaming Alpha squad. They have dropped number 1 to the Omega Yeet list squad, as well as AWE, if you are tuning in as well to the Drop Dead Gaming TTV channel. AWE has won map 1 versus Drop Dead Gaming. So just a little bit of an update of what's happening around the Immortal playoffs at the moment.
And in the meantime, we got to take a quick look at this game and really just think about what is at stake here and what is currently the points of power for this team, right? So Hazem able to get a decent flank off in that last fight there, but it really was just focus onto Grim, focus onto Keyboarder. In the end, Vietnamese Caps being able to just get free realm all over that fight is honestly incredible. For one, I do think that the Cassiopeia should probably have just been with the team, but for 2, I'm baffled that that flank worked out as well as it did, right? It was a flank onto the enemy team, and usually, that means that you just immediately turn onto that mage, but turning onto Cassiopeia with that petrifying gaze inbound just makes you a sitting duck. And right there, the enemy's Caps able to turn things around with a crazy flank.
For sure, he was sick of getting bullied, in lane and in the side lanes. It's like 3-4 people showing up to kill him, and he's just like, nah, I've had enough of this. I'm gonna make the plays. I'm gonna make the shots. We're gonna shut you guys down.
7 kills now.
Yep. This Cassiopeia is looking like a force to be reckoned with, and we can't shy away from Keyboarder's Ezreal either. 3-1 has already got the 2 item powers completions online too, whereas, granted, Nukes has 3 items, but the Static Shiv build and Rush allows you to hit those 3 items a lot faster than an opposing AD carry would. So that's the build is accomplishing what it's supposed to for the side of Nukes. But there's just about, it still feels like Akuma is a little bit stronger right now than Dorado, although another team fight could still go either way.
Yeah, honestly, my big question here right now is what is Vietnamese Caps gonna do with that Dark Seal? Because, on one hand, you could not throw and just finish your Rylai's. On the other hand, Cursed Book right now would be really funny, right? But the funny option is usually not the option taken when it comes to the playoffs. Baron gonna be taken up in 30 seconds here, though. And I will say, speaking of funny options, I will note the Akuma Scythes getting that crazy Baron call going the last time around was mad fun to watch here. And now Dorado Gaming Gamma not only have to be worried about Baron during the regular opportunities, they have to be worried about Baron through each and every moment. So with this control over the Baron vision, that means that the Akuma Scythes have so many opportunities to play for the fight, to play for the pick around the Baron. That one early Baron call turns into so much more as the series progresses here. But in the meantime, Kerrigan and Nukes just able to do a lot with these picks. But the biggest question is, what exactly is it going to turn into, right? There's still a lot of gold on these picks, but are you going to be able to have the chance to do much damage on your chest looking for a disruption play?
Gone. That Baron is just gone, astronomically obliterated. It's a great equalizer, but holy, the damage coming out of Akuma Scythes! I didn't even have time to understand what physically happened because they just evaporated. Literally, their entire team was just gone in the blink of an eye, and Hazem, the last one remaining, the last one standing, and it's a clean ace. Vietnamese Caps TPing on into the mid lane. Is it going to be GG right here, right now? It's quite possible. They've got the Void Mites, they've got the Baron buff. Is game one going over to the heavy favorites, Akuma Scythes? It's looking quite possible. You got about 5 seconds until Odin will be back online, but it's going to be 5 seconds until these turrets end up falling, and the Nexus is gone too. Akuma take game at number 1 in literally like 1 minute.
Yeah, I cannot believe how unbelievably good that final engage was. On your chest, just finds the right opportunity, finds the right moment, sees that the curtain call is dropped immediately with the Magnet Storm crash down combo, going to lock up that Jhin and in turn lock up the rest of Dorado. And Vietnamese Caps able to follow up at just the right moment, able to put out so much damage there. But look at this, right? Vietnamese Caps, we've been saying this man's praises the whole time because the Cassiopeia has been doing so much work there, but the damage across the Akuma sides is so consistent, right? Vietnamese Caps just didn't even do the most damage in the game for his team. Not the most damage in the game, but more importantly, not even for his team. Grim on the Grag is able to consistently output damage. I think a lot of that really does come from that solo lane, side lane prowess, just constantly going in onto that Renekton. But the damage being so relatively even across the team, despite the gold differences, shows you just how much every member of the Akuma sides is picking up the slack bit by bit.
For sure, but that's going to be game number 1 in the books. Will this Dorado team find an answer? They were looking really strong into the early game. Do they hit the drawing board, see what they can draft up differently? Who knows? Maybe Akuma has something else left in store that we have not seen. But we will be getting started with game number 2 in just a short bit, so don't go anywhere.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have.
Welcome back. We're just about to get started for game number 2. Game number 1 already a banger, and so far Akuma Scythes are coming out big on top, fulfilling their prophecy potentially to take it all the way to the end to potentially meet that Omega Yeetless team. You know, those two could be in the finals. Never know. Maybe Dorado
They're
is
the
cooking up.
favorites.
Yeah, maybe Dorado's cooking up an upset on both sides. Maybe Dorado just topples both of the Giants. Who knows? We still got a lot of games left to go throughout the night. Now, we take a look back at game number 1. What was drafted? Do we feel like anything was a massive problem for Dorado? Anything that needs to be off the board ASAP?
If I'm going to be completely honest, I'm not sure if there's any particular pick that is, massive. You had to take this on off the table, with the exception of this Rel did so much work in those later team fights on your chest. Honestly, did a ton of good work there. But also, the Gragas, nothing to be sleeping on, as not only was it just constantly winning out in the solo lane, it was constantly able to put out damage in those team fights. But I will say, I'm not sure if the Gragas is fully ban-worthy per se, but at the very least, you cannot be blind picking Renekton with that Gragas up and expecting your top laner to just lock in, just be a little bit better this time, right? Like, it's so difficult to put yourself in that situation. But in the meantime, we're gonna have to get into game number 2, and Dorado are going to have to change things up as far as the draft goes, because in that last game, the draft went fine as far as theoretical wise. But if you're going to draft, you don't want to just draft based off of who theoretically wins out. You also want to draft based off of performance, how you're feeling that day, what your tendencies are, what the synergies are. And there's a great tool in order to help you make that happen called Pro Comps.
Oh yeah, we love Pro Comps. What it does is it takes the meta, it takes the recent games you've played, it can act as a virtual coaching assistant for you. It can analyze your drafts, tell you how you should play your matchups, help you establish that championship pool that you may be looking for. It all runs that across the patch notes, across the meta, everything that's being played in the higher elos right now. So if you need to level up your drafting game, or if you want to start an amateur team of your own and are needing a little bit help with draft strategies, you definitely want to go check out ProComps. It's free to install, free to use. Everybody on your team can have it. Don't gotta worry about it unoptimizing your PC. It just runs in the background, doesn't take up too much RAM, anything like that. You definitely should go and get it.
I mean, gotta say, Pro Comps for it completely free, gonna be feeling pretty nice. And speaking of feeling pretty nice, the Akuma side is gonna be feeling it nice over here. Omega Yeatless on the other side, also with a 1-0 lead here. If we leave, Art of War is also up 1 game, and oh man, the Ember Wolves right now in a little bit of trouble. 2 games in the lead here for their opposing team. But right now, as we get into the rest of the set here, the entirety of these playoffs are getting more and more terrifying.
For sure. I mean, if Omega Yeatless wins and Team XYZ win here in the next match, that's going to be a banger of a series. I hope we can stream and watch that one, because, I mean, Team XYZ somewhat new to the league here at Titan, and they're already in playoffs. They'd already be at the semifinals, and they are considered one of the top dog teams in the league. So
hey,
if they
let's not write things off just yet. They're not quite at the semifinals just yet.
No,
still quarters, 2 games up, and let me say, great job on being up 2 games. There's no chance that your opponent comes back with a 3-0 after
EG
that.
Cloud9, there's no way EG comes back from a 2-0.
But yeah, in the end, we have some crazy games all across the entire league. You got to watch out for them as much as possible. But speaking of games, we got to look at this game set right here. The Akuma sides versus Dorado Gaming Gamma. And it has very much been in the Akuma side's favor. Grim has been doing incredible in the 1v1 in top lane. And I got to say, Riddy and Proud really haven't been giving that much attention to the top lane. Like, they'll come up there when it's time for the Void Grubs, but nothing more than that. In the meantime, mid lane, the enemy's Caps did get the early jump onto Kerrigan, but welcome to competitive League of Legends. There's no real such thing as a 1v1, and bot lane has been a little bit of a snooze fest, but being able to unlock these supports is the job of the AD carry right now. I mean, we might be having marksman v marksman across the entire rift for so many elos here, but right now, we're not seeing those marksmen just yet. The magic damage DPS from Cassiopeia, on the other hand, was nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I would be a little shocked to see that Cassiopeia gets picked up here again. I think that Dorado might not want to let this one through, although it probably just worked because of Akuma side's draft and the composition that they had lined up. It's probably realistically what did make it work. It was starting to fall off a bit. You know, Dorado felt like they had found the answer. They were punishing him on the side lanes. Brow ganks, gets a kill, forces out the flash, comes back, gets another one. Like, after that first initial solo bolo in the mid lane, that Vietnamese Caps had set up, things started to go a little bit downhill. Then hits the massive flank with the Petrifying Gaze, and then after that, it was just like, okay, I'm back on top again on this mage. So maybe Caps wants to pull something else out. Maybe we're going to see a little bit more mage action happening here. Would love to see some Syndra, some Victor, something along the lines. Talia's in a very strong spot right now, so that could be a flex towards the mid or the jungle if they do decide to go that sort of route. But I'm looking at Dorado right now because last time they drafted basically their entire top side. Yeah, they might. I hope that they B1. Okay. No, they're doing it again,
it's
man.
Another B1 Rumble. Okay.
Put that one in the top lane this time.
I don't know. I do think that the Rumble definitely did a lot of work in that last game. I mean, Prow was doing great on that Rumble, but it seems we're getting essentially the same draft as last time. We got Rumble, we got Ezreal, likely going to be Viego once again. Honestly, maybe not the Viego because you do have the opportunity to pick something that would do fine into the Rumble. I honestly would venture to argue that the Jarvan might be a little bit of a double-edged sword. You got to be so careful against champions like Rumble, like Kennen, like Orianna, whether or not you are the Jarvan or you're playing against the team, whether or not your team has the Rumble or, you know, doesn't have one, because that Cataclysm could just trap so many of your own team members in there. In the meantime, you do have the ball delivery system onto the Wukong right now. So Dorado, Game and Gamma have decided to skip the team fighting composition and say, you know what? If that didn't quite work out, what if we just dumb it down and hit the R button? And in the meantime, we do have the Gragas picked up once again for Grim here, and Gragas should be able to do fine into the Rumble, so it's likely not going to be the you know, Rumble support, Rumble jungle, Wukong top sort of shenanigans. I'd be hard pressed to see a Wukong top into Gragas. That would be pretty dang rough here. But in the meantime, Loki's still going to be crying in the club. The Kai'Sa's constantly getting banned out every which way.
Yep. 4 ADCs taken off the board once again, and now that's just going to open up. Okay, do we lock Jin again? It didn't work last game realistically well, but now we have Scythes locked up. This could still be somewhat of a flex, actually. Keyboarder could lock this, and they throw the Ezreal into the mid lane for Caps, or Caps is just going to rock the Ziggs. Either way, I think it's going to be pretty solid. Lucian Nami or Lucian Milio, you know, against the Jarvan.
It could also just be a Lucian Rumble.
Okay, that would be so weird, but you know, if
it works. It's definitely a thing here, but Lucian Braum instead going to be the one picked up here. And honestly, I like this one a lot. Going to be able to block the explosive cast, going to be able to block so many Ziggs bombs, so many Mystic shots, true shot barrages as well here. And while Braum doesn't necessarily have the same sort of ways to, you know, pump things up like an Enchanter would for Lucian, the lockdown with the Winter's Bite is definitely something to watch out for in these fights. But here we go, Ezreal Karma, the classic poke bot lane in response here. But honestly, at a glance, you've got poke on poke on poke on one side and hit the R button on the other side here.
Yeah, somewhat. I am liking Dorado's composition a lot more going into game number 2. I think that the Wukong Orianna is a great win con to be able to fight around. You also got culling out of nukes, just to be, you know, hitting up that culling straight off of a shockwave, just guaranteeing a target gets bursted down. It could be a win condition for them. But Lucian, also a double-edged sword here, because this champion does not want to play from behind, nor does it realistically want to go even, especially against an Ezreal. And if Keyboarder and On Your Chest just continue to poke out nukes and Odin, maybe they find some solo angles to find these kills. Maybe already starting. Oh, there's a great Q poke there. Already beginning the poke damage. Maybe Riddy ganks towards the spot side. They get a kill, and that puts the solution behind. That could be devastating for Dorado.
Yeah, all right. Well, I mean, Procom's definitely liking the Akuma
Wow.
side's team here. And I mean, honestly, that makes sense, right? All in going to get softened up by the poke team here is definitely a possibility. But the big thing about all in teams is that it doesn't matter how far behind you are. It doesn't matter what kind of, draft difference it looks like per se. What matters is whether or not the team that has the R button squad has just enough damage to actually get those R buttons going here. In the meantime, it is going to be Kerrigan and Vietnamese Caps going toe-to-toe in this mid lane. The bouncing bomb's going to be pretty hard to dodge out because, you dodge one, it's fine, but you have 6 more on the way here. And Orianna already getting pretty softened up here. But in the meantime, I would love to see as much damage as possible being built up by this Orianna, by this Wukong, to just try to make sure that. Okay,
No way he does it again. No way he does it again. Oh my. Kerrigan is playing a dangerous game. Vietnamese Caps flashes for it and tries to get another solo. Is he gonna go to...
Yeah, I mean, definitely tries to get the solo kill here as all goes quiet on the Western Front. I mean, that first blood almost coming through there, but in the meantime, Akuma definitely in the lead. Chat not too happy about that, but it's okay. I mean, in the meantime, Grim suffering a little bit more on this top side. It is not going to be that Gragas versus Renekton that we saw the last time around here. But as Grag gets tankier and tankier, it gets much, much easier for this champion to deal with so much of this poke.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be the AP poke out. He's going to have a little bit of trouble with the Flame Spitter, at least early on, Grimwill, but eventually he's going to finish up that Rod of Ages and start just taking it to Hazem. I would be interested to see if Grim finds any solo bolo angles. Probably going to need a little bit of help from Riddy making it to the top side once he gets that Cataclysm online. Maybe he gets a little bit of a bomba into the Cataclysm, a little bit of combo action happening there. I mean, Riddy did find a gank angle early on to be able to kill out Hazem in last game on the Renekton, which helped Grim kind of snowball the lane later on. So we could be looking for something like that to come down once again. Neutral objectives are going to be on the map here soon in the next minute and a half. As both junglers just taking a little bit of a reset, hovering around their mid laner, just making sure nobody can find any sort of kill angles just yet. But in the meantime, bot lane has found some shove potential into Nukes and Odin. It's what we're going to be expecting from the Etzeral Karma power poke duo into the bot side. Is that going to open up Riddy to go for dragon number 1? It's definitely telling Prow, hey, we need a little bit of help. Come try and find a gank angle. Help us push back these waves. Help us push for Pryo in this bot side, and maybe in return we can get the dragon. We see Prow is going up with the sweeper, is going to get spotted on the ward. Chest is roaming up, just trying to find a monster Q just to be able to get the slow off in case the Wukong is looking for an engage, but instead the Wukong has backed on off. But that information will be relayed to Riddy, so he's probably going to start looking for these set of Void Grubs.
Yeah, I also got to say, interesting decision there from the Akuma side to be giving that early solo tower plate gold to the Karma. Hold on.
No way! First blood again in Vietnamese Cap solo bolo mid lane. Meanwhile, bot
but watch bot.
Got a little bit of a scuffle happening. The monster shield coming straight on out. Has to burn out the flash, but Nuke's able to find the kill. Will it go 1-for-1 though? Trying to dodge out Keyboarder. Lands the Mystic Shots. The auto the bear is going to be procced. Riddy's going to be there for a little bit of the follow-up. The flag and drag trying to find Odin, and they get the double kill in response. At least, so you to support Chess, you gladly give up your life for that. 3 kills across the map. 4 kills technically in total in the past 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, so good for the side of the Akuma sides here. They're going to be scaling up pretty dang nicely. Level 6 now on Grim here. And Hazem has to be so careful, but at the very least, Grag is not really going to be able to threaten a kill just yet, but at the very least, Dragon going down for the Akuma sides, just putting a stop to the very early Dragon stacking that Dorado Gaming Gamma had in that last game here. But I gotta say, right? Solo kill with Ziggs in the mid lane, definitely super, super rough to find yourself in that position as the Orianna. But on top of that, Riddy coming down at just the right time to make sure that that 2v2 win turns in completely around is going to be feeling so, so good for the Akuma sides here. And honestly, my biggest question at this point goes to what exactly is it that's going through Dorado Gaming Gamma's mind, right? Right now, you got to be careful, right? There's so much control here for this team. I mean, Kerrigan not going to die just yet, but definitely going to have to get forced out of the lane here. Might even burn the shockwave for the minions, but I gotta say, right? Honestly, the mental game is the biggest question at this point, right? I mean, there's just so much power for the Akuma sides, so much winning across the map on a poke composition that will always feel oppressive to play against.
For sure. Vietnamese Caps trying to win the scatter bombs onto Kerrigan, just completely force him out of the lane, cancel the back timer just a couple of times. Prow is forced to stay here and push out these waves. This can open up a numerous amount of things for Riddy to make a move across the map because the enemy jungler is start getting occupied by your mid laner for the time being. Meanwhile, Keyboarder and Chess continuing their assault on Nukes and Odin as Prow almost falls again. Was that a second Inferno Bomb? I don't know if Caps used the second one there or not.
No, not quite, not quite.
It looked, though, the explosion looked a little weird. I think it was just the scatter bombs that fell. It looked like it was. Anyway, I know I'm wrong.
It's just satchel charge and scatter bombs. Like, that's just how it be sometimes. But in the meantime, what it does mean is that you're getting so many map leads across the entire map. And right now we're looking at a possibility of a dive here as the Akuma sides with this poke composition are always able to find ways to just soften up the entirety of the team. In the meantime, Braum Ultimate gonna be going wide here, looking like, you know, someone has been playing some 2x KO, but is very, very different this time around as there's much more places to move than just backwards.
Yeah, that is not realistically going backwards and forwards. It's ultimate going to be a little bit more roughly harder to hit. But I'm surprised that Riddy not pulling the trigger there on the Cataclysm.
Oh?
Maybe you're able to find a little bit of poke straight out as the bot side gang coming in once again. But Odin and Nukes are chunked down. They're so weak that even if Prow comes around, I feel like it would just be a negative trade for Dorado anyway if they are able to find the kills. But they're going to give that information straight over to Riddy that the Wukong has moved into the bot side camps. And now Riddy's coming around. Cataclysm online. The Monster Shield. He gets the Cataclysm on the Nukes, who's able to dash on straight away. Barrier's going to be procced. Now Odin's going to be the target in the Scythes. Monster Q able to find the kill. Chest cleaning that one up. But that's the solution. They lose out so much. Full tower plates are already just about gone in that bot turret.
Yeah, and in the meantime, Vietnamese Caps just doing so much work in the mid lane. I don't know if you missed it, Cilantro, but these, like, Vietnamese Caps is doing so much work in this mid lane. It's honestly absurd. Like Vietnamese Caps and Kerrigan went completely toe-to-toe in a trade. Kerrigan pops Shockwave directly onto Caps, hits the full combo, and Vietnamese Caps still is coming out on top on these trades. It's honestly absurd just how much damage this Ziggs is putting out here. And in the meantime, top lane, so difficult for either of these players to find a kill, as both the Rumble and the Gragas have the ability to not only put out damage, but take some in return. In the meantime, Prow right now looking to punish the lack of ultimate, looking to punish the lack of flash, but spotted out by a well-placed bush ward.
Yeah, and so is Kerrigan roaming up to this topside play as well. Gets spotted up by Riddy. Then able to get the knock up with the flag and drag, but the Shockwave is going to be able to come straight on down. But the knock up from Graham forces the flash forward out of Prow, who goes in with the Cyclone, but the kill has already been committed. So far, it's a 1-for-1 trade. Vietnamese Caps firing back with the bombs. Riddy is still alive!
And just like that, Vietnamese Caps comes in at the right time, and Riddy surviving just barely off of the Triumph procs, and there it is. Void Grub started to get taken up, and there's way too much prio on this bot side to have a chance at fighting for this dragon here. But right now, Dorado Gaming Gamma in so much pain. That last game, right, gave Dorado the upper hand as far as the draft is concerned, according to pro comps here. And this time, Akuma with a composition that is heavily pro comps approved. We're seeing a very, very dominating performance.
Tower plating all gone, all into the pocket of Keyboard. It's all been picked up. Odin goes forward. This time the Brawlmold's gonna end up landing.
Oh my god!
And that's what I was afraid of. That's what I was afraid of. Even if Prow comes, they are so weak already that it would just be a negative trade-off for them. Even if Prow came, they would still find the kills onto the enemy bot laners. And that exactly proves my theory. And the tower will end up falling. First turret into the pocket of the Metzreal.
Yeah, in the meantime, let's look at this top lane fight again. Riddy just going to miss out on that flag and drag. In the meantime, Grim getting focused down, getting taken out by that Wukong ultimate. But Vietnamese Caps completely untouched on the back. So many of these bombs just constantly coming out. Gets the auto down, and the Mega Inferno bomb wasn't even available. But right now, we do have Kerrigan getting the opportunity to get the kill and shut down over to Oriana. That's definitely gotta feel cathartic after Vietnamese Caps has been in so much control for so much of the game, and just in time to save the tower too.
Yeah. Probably kicking yourself a little bit if you are Vietnamese Caps. Maybe there's a way you could have played that a little bit better to come out with the kill. But you're up 40 CS gold on your opposing laner as well as kills, and you take second dragon as well. So honestly, you're not too upset with it. Keyboarder's going to be able to pick up another plate gold. They just want to give so much gold as possible to this Ezreal. Already completed up the Triforce 2s, looking to clean up the last plate that's on this mid lane turret, and then, you know, they could give them the full the rest of the turret, or they could just send Ziggs down there to satchel kill it. Who knows what's going to end up happening, but Nukes and Odin just continuously at half HP, I believe. Like, this entire game is what it feels like.
Oh my goodness.
Riddy's going to move on into the jungle, spots out Prowl, maybe coming in for a little bit of peel, but now Riddy's going to go ahead and take up that positioning. Instead, we'll be there potentially to help push this mid lane turret, but now they're going to turn their sights on to this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and I gotta say, Cilantro, I am really, really liking the Akuma side's composition right now, or more of the execution, right? Because this is a composition that we have seen time and time again, or more specifically, a strat that we've seen time again, that I like to call the cash money Ziggs strat, where you take Ziggs, and hold on, never mind, who cares about strategies when we got a full-on fight down here.
Yeah, Azem's going to be able to eat up the root from the Karma, trying to fight back with the Flame Spirit. The Equalizer coming straight down onto the enemy support too. The Cyclone's going to be committed onto On Your Chest, just to at least potentially go 1-for-1. Now looking to turn onto Grim's going to be able to slow him up with the barrel toss. But in turn, you at least go 1-for-1, but Rift Herald was picked up, and we see that the ping's already coming down into the mid lane. Can they take a mid-tier 2 off this while the jungler has been distracted? Caps is roaming around the side too, maybe looking for that satchel charge to take down the tower, but maybe they're turning their sights on the Prowl. They know they spotted him. They know that he's got to move through this jungle just to be able to potentially contest this. And yep, that turret is gone. But meanwhile,
yeah, absolutely
Odin,
gone, but no defensive abilities for Vietnamese Caps here.
Caps trying to get away as much as possible. Maybe at least go 1-for-1. The Shockwave and the Mega Inferno Bomb, not able to find realistically anything, but they committed 4 ultimates there just to be able to kill off 1 is what it's looking like. His Keeper fights back with the True Shot Barrage, maybe looking for an auto attack on the Prowl, not able to find the kill, but Odin will end up falling. It's a double kill for Keyboarder now. Riddy pushing on forward, wants to continue to push this aggression. The cooldowns, the abilities, they're all gone. They used them all just to kill Vietnamese Caps, and now they are on the defensive foothold.
Yeah, and you can see right there, Cilantro, Keyboarder, the unsung hero of this game. We've been saying Vietnamese Caps' praises back and forth because the Ziggs has been doing a lot of work, has been doing so much tower damage, so much damage in these fights on these rounds. But this is a 4-0 Ezreal. The big thing about running a Cash Money Ziggs composition is usually the way how it works is you have the Ziggs dealing tower damage, taking towers, just doing lots and lots of work with the towers, roaming across the map, putting gold into the team as much as possible. Somehow, some way, the keyboard and on your chest are so far ahead with the Ezreal and Karma that they're also taking towers at the same pace. But look at this, right? Flash forward, the Shockwave all committed onto Vietnamese Cap, still managed to get the Mega Inferno Bomb off, and the Cataclysm from Riddy flash out as well to make sure that the True Shot Barrage hits absolutely everyone. Double kill going over to Keyboarders on your chest, got back right on time there, and what looked like a potential play for the Dorado squad is not going to work out in their favor. I like that they're looking for these plays, trying to make something happen before the Poke team is able to just soften them up at the beginning of every one of these fights. But it might be too little too late, as this is an 8,000 gold lead less than 20 minutes into the game.
Yeah. And they're about to be sitting on Soul Point 2.
Oh.
Prow finds a kill on the Vietnamese Caps, though. That one's a little interesting. To see how that ended up happening. I guess the top side with the Shockwave. No, Kerrigan didn't even commit the Shockwave, but Riddy is there for a little bit of the cleanup. A little bit of a revenge kill, so to speak. You kill my mid laner, I'm going to kill yours. Chest comes on in, gets a slow proc on a Prowl. The Root's going to be able to commit 2, and they give that kill straight on over to Keyboarder. Maybe able to find themselves a top tier 2 as a little bit of a present and gift, as well as the Red Tail is going to be dropped down. I was just about to mention that thing did not come out yet after that mid lane scuffle, and this is looking exactly why. They're going to find those topside kills, push on in, and continue to push this objective macro. They got Dragon up in about 10 seconds, but they don't need to go for it just yet. They've already sitting on 2 into their pocket. They're going to get as much as they can across the map. As Odin, is he going to get rooted up? Flag and drag, knockup comes down, equalizer, but the damage out of Keyboarder is absolutely disgusting. I've never seen a Braum eviscerate any faster.
Yeah, I mean, Odin gonna lose an eye for that one, but still not able to see the future there, as Kerrigan in a bit of trouble, just trying to walk up, trying to make something happen, as On Your Chest is getting engaged on, but this does not look like a good fight.
No, it's definitely not. Proud, desperate, trying to make a move, trying to get a pick, trying to get something in return, but is unfortunately not able to. Meanwhile, Caps is able to find the kill onto Hazem, I believe, in the mid lane, able to open up the pushing potential to take this mid inhibitor turret. They can get this mid inhibitor turret, they can get the mid inhibitor, they may be able to get a little bit of a flank on this backside. The Cataclysm is going to be online. Will Riddy decide to go all in for it? Under the turret, the bomb is going to go completely wide, but Kerrigan's going to end up falling anyway. Now they're going to push out this wave as well. They're just trying to keep this Dorado team in their base for as long as possible, take as many resources as they physically can across the rest of the map, and then they will go and take Soul Point onto the Dragon. Maybe they need it, maybe they do not, because they've got that top inhibitor turret gone already. Okay, now they should back off and start to move toward the Dragon.
Yeah, maybe not. I mean, you've got so much of a gold lead here. What is this, like 12,000? Like, that's
something like that.
Absurd. Less than 20 minutes into the game. Dragon going to be getting started up soon here, but right now, Akuma sides have so much gold as far as shutdowns are concerned, have so much gold in every single potential scenario that I honestly think the only opportunity that Dorado Gaming Gamma have right now is, can you get a pick onto the Keyboarder? Can you get a pick onto Riddy? So your options for these picks, right, are picks onto one of the most mobile AD carries in the entire game, or onto the Jarvan that not only has tons of damage, but also has the Sundered Sky fully completed, should be able to flag and drag away after Cataclysm, locking you directly in. And it is just looking rougher and rougher for Dorado Gaming Gamma here. But Prow is not having a good time. Odin
Oh.
is also not having a good time. That is a full-on forfeit, it seems,
Wait, is
as
that? I don't think
Akuma
that.
Scythes absolutely going to demolish Dorado Gaming Gamma in game number 2.
Can they do that?
Okay, I mean,
We're being
honestly,
told they can FF. We're being told they can FF, but I don't think
Okay.
that. I guess
Honestly,
if it's in the rule book, then I mean, this is a first for me.
If it's fair game, it's fair game. Because when you have a series on your hands, right, there's a few different strategies in order to deal with it. When you have a game that seems so far gone, right, you could look to destroy your opponent's momentum. You could constantly look to find your ways back into the game, right? Or option number 3, which I believe is what the the Dorado Gaming Gamma have decided to take for themselves. Just give up the game, move on to the next one, preserve your mental, get a breather, get back into the swing of things, and in the end, that team composition, that team play from the Akuma sides, unbelievably powerful here. 20 minutes, 46 seconds in, Baron was started up, and had that Baron been taken, it was essentially unlosable for the Akuma sides here. But as we see, game number 1, pretty back and forth. Game number 2, incredibly strong play from the Akuma sides. But don't go anywhere, because game number 3 is where things could end.
Mhm.
Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the Immortal League. Very interesting second game we had there, but Akuma take the series, or take the game win, and they are now up 2-0, looking to take the series. We're sitting on match point. As you guys saw, our brackets, AWE and Drop Dead Gaming, have gone 1-1 so far. Our first series to not be a full sweep at the moment, as the team XYZ have taken the dub against the Emerwolves. They are the first official team of the Immortal League in the semi-finals, looking to potentially go up against either Dorado Gaming Alpha or Omega Yeetless. So now this game could determine the second set of semi-finals here. Will Akuma Scythes take the 3-0 sweep and move over to be our second team in the semi-finals? In the second group of semifinals, looking to go up against that AWE or Drop Dead Gaming team? Or will Dorado Gaming find a way back and will be here for another 4 hours as they reverse sweep? Who knows? I know what you're pulling for, Anti. Everybody at home on the chat is probably pulling for this Akuma Scythes team. They are the favorites at the moment to take the series, and they're riding a pretty strong momentum wave.
Yeah, I mean, as you might have seen earlier, I was praying to Procons because all hail Procons for that one. Look at this incredible draft. So Dorado Gaming Gamma, go for the classic, go for the what if we just hit our team composition. Meanwhile, Akuma Scythes immediately suss that one out the moment they see the Orianna. They say, all right, if you're just gonna go all in, what if we just poke the hell out of you so you never get a chance to hit that R button? And by God, did it work out. The Ezreal, the Ziggs, the Karma, they did so much work. But on top of that, I mean, Grim, always a threat on the Gragas. Riddy on the Jarvan had a very solid game. I mean, the amount of damage that Jarvan was able to put out was insane. But all eyes on the keyboarder here as the Ezreal was able to not only do a billion damage in those team fights, a ton of damage to the turrets as well, to the point where the man was literally matching Ziggs in that tower damage. Like, I cannot believe that Ezreal was able to do that much damage to the towers, do that much damage to the opposing champions there. But I mean, the Cataclysm, True Shot Barrage, Mega Death combos, it was just absolutely insane. Now, Dorado Gaming Gamma did end up FFing that game, did decide, all right, we got to save the mental, look for that next game. We're down 0-2, backs against the wall. The pressure is mounting here. And now in game number 3, the Akuma Scythes have poised themselves to take the entire thing 3-0. And I would be super excited to see just what they have in store for us here. And now that you had that crazy of a game, there's 2 ways to play this. 1, you just play calm, cool, collected, and ride that momentum straight into the sunset. 2, you go straight for the full-on mental boom damage and start to meme a little bit, right? I mean, game number 3s is where series are made or broken, and especially in positions like this where game 2 is already under the same team's belt, Dorado Gaming Gamma have to make some changes.
You know, if it's me, I'm going for the mental boom, and I'm going for the full ones. I'm coming at the throat.
Yeah.
I'm going full fast tempo, mega skill check. You know, like let's like if it fails, okay, you know, we'll settle down. We'll cool the jets. We'll go map 4, and we'll play it safe. We'll take hopefully let's take it down. But map number 3. I'm going for the mental, the full mental dip and coming at the throat. You know, like I'm locking Irelia and I'm going 4-0 in the first 10 minutes. Like, you know that, you know what I'm saying? Like that's. I'm
gonna be real with you. If they lock Irelia, I'm mental booming. But you know, all memes aside here. Now, the Akuma Scythes on the blue side do have the ability to first pick here, which, as far as I'm concerned, means that Rumble has to be super, super contested, and there it is, gonna get banned out here. As they understand that they are not going to be taking Rumble on B1, so it's likely going to be the Leona now that she is fully available here. Strongest support on the patch, almost 100% pick ban presence, but it's the Misfortune. All right, going to be picked up here. So now on the other side, you have 2 opportunities here. 1, you pick up the Leona in order to make sure you don't have Leona Misfortune combo. 2, you pick up the Braum, which is eventually going to work incredibly well into the Misfortune, into the inevitable Leona here. So your options are relatively limited. You do also have the option of just going with the Ezreal with some kind of relatively mobile support here. And Zyra jungle coming on out. I mean, you've already taken Brand off the table, so there's the strongest, you know, magic damage jungle champions available to you. Because Sante immediately slammed down. I mean, Grim has very much gotten the upper hand on Hazem so many times in this series. So at this point, why not just blind pick?
When jungle out of Riddy in game number 3? This is absolutely crazy draft so far. You know, I was going to be expecting AKM to, you know, you were talking about B1, the Leona, but I was just expecting Keyboard to just B1 Ezreal. I mean, we had Ezreal game 1, we had Ezreal game 2, and he looked phenomenal on both game 1 and game 2. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But instead, Dorado are going to be taking up that one themselves. They're going to be locking in that Ezreal. Zyra jungle
Good
with
Braum
Camille
ban.
rounding out that mid, rounding out that top side. So Camille versus the Cassante, another matchup we've seen time and time and time again. We've seen this Gwen jungle a couple of times on the Immortal League, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it has not. Against the Zyra,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Honestly, I think that Gwen jungle as a champion does mean that your team as a whole has a lot of power in that team fighting, right? Gwen as a champion has very strong side laning, but much more than the side laning, it is the full-on team fighting where she truly does shine here. Leona gonna be taken away by the side of Dorado Gaming Gamma here. So now you gotta pair the Misfortune with something else. Nautilus is the choice here. So it is going to be that super easy point and click CC onto those hypermobile AD carries like the Ezreal. It should make taking picks super easy here. And Lucian mid gonna be locked in for Vietnamese caps. And now with the counter pick available, what are they gonna take? It's likely going to be an AD mid laner here. Would not be too surprised to see something crazy like a Yone, and the Zeri coming on by marksman galore as the Nautilus all of a sudden has so much higher value in this game.
Yep. It's going to be a little tough to lock down the Zeri, but if you can, boy oh boy, are they going to be dead? And no, they're flexing the Zeri to the into the bot lane. I was kind of expecting it to be Zeri in the mid lane, but no, they're going to be giving that Ezreal on over to Kerrigan. Let him go tit for tat with the Lucian, and I feel like the Lucian up against the Ezreal be a little bit better because, well, Lucian can shoot through the wave while Zeri can. She's got to burn her E in order to be able to do that, and so this is going to allow for Lucian to be able to fight that pushing power that the Ezreal will realistically be able to have. And Kerrigan should be fine solo alone against the Lucian, theoretically speaking, in this lane out, giving him a little bit of a safer pick in this mid lane. But which draft are you starting to feel? We've got Akuma up 2-0. They're sitting at match point. Dorado. This is the draft of all drafts right now. This is do or die for them. Did they pull something out to get the win?
Yeah, honestly, I don't dislike the Dorado draft at all, right? So the big thing about the Akuma Scythes draft here is that Misfortune is a huge power pick, right? I mean, so much of the team in general is going to be focused around, can Misfortune get off that bullet time? Can she really get a high amount of value in there? And that works incredibly against teams that want to walk into you, that want to stand still, that want to just get off the damage that they can in your face. And Dorado Gaming Gamma's team is anything but. And ProComp's going to agree with me on that one here, but as we're saying, right, the Zeri, the Ezreal, the Zyra, these champions are so content with just darting every which way around a team fight. You're not going to be stuck in one little sort of choke point here. But now we're seeing Keyboarder and On Your Chest able to run away with so much pressure level 1 here, especially because the Nautilus has so much more potential into that Zeri than Leona would into the Misfortune early on here. In the meantime, top lane is just going to be that standard Cassante versus the Camille, as Grim has had the upper hand in a lot of these fights, but the question is, what does this turn into the later that the game goes? Riddy and Grim, honestly, the backline diving buddies here, are going to definitely change the entire scope of the game.
Yeah, for sure. And honestly, in this top, as we're talking a little bit about this top side, Grim is okay if this lane kind of just goes neutral, kind of goes like even, because later on, Cassante is going to be this all-powerful tank that can take maybe nukes out of the fight with the all out. Maybe takes Odin out of the fight. They don't have that Leona for CC lockup. Maybe takes Prow out of the fight. Gets into those 1v1s. As them gonna have to work a little bit harder. Try and find these flank angles. Get the slingshot on in.
Prow spotted out.
Yep, Prowl's coming straight on down. Riddy's there for a little bit of the counter gank. Root's going to be committed onto On Your Chest. First Blood goes straight on over to Nukes this time around. Riddy is in dangerously low HP range form. The Zenith play is going to be able to find the lockup too. Riddy, are you going to end up falling? Yes, eventually, but Odin has the flash for it. Maybe goes 1-for-1. Ignite tick tower shots. Okay, at least on your chest is able to bounce back. But 3 kills right then and there for Dorado.
Yeah, huge play for Dorado Gaming. They're going to be able to get that early kill, get that early gold under their belt, start that Zeri up, get so much more accelerated in this game. But even more importantly than that, 1 kill and 2 assists onto Prow there on that Zyra jungle means that there's going to be so fast on the clears here. Going to be able to pick up the fully finished boots as well. And look at this. Prow was spotted out here, but in a beautiful flank timing. It doesn't matter if you have the vision here. It's simply going to look all Dorado right now. The long range Zenith Blade going to be able to catch Riddy and on your chest there. Flash forward as well, and in the very end Odin does go down, but who cares if the Leona is going down if your team is picking up 3 in response. And in the meantime, Hazem able to get the solo kill in top lane, looking very different from what we've seen in the rest of the series.
Yeah, it seems as though Dorado maybe have caught off guard this Akuma Scythes team. They've come out balls to the wall swinging. I mean, hey, they've got nothing left to lose. The Akuma Scythes, they're sitting on match points. So Dorado, you know what? Let's just throw everything we physically can got at them. Go a little bit of limit testing. You know, let's just run at them. Let's just see what we can accomplish. And so far, it's starting to pay dividends as Vietnamese Caps is getting ganked up in this mid lane. Nowhere left to go. Riddy will be there for at least the response, and he's going to be able to dash on out. Kerrigan a little bit too weak on the HP bar and in the mana field to be able to help fight that one. But at least allows for a safe backing Prowl as enabled for his mid laner. Interesting to see that Grim ends up falling early against Zem. I expect him to play it a little bit more safely against this Camille early on, as we know that true damage is egregious to have to lane against, as we see here. The stun coming straight on off. Q3 ends up going wide, and there's that Camille passive coming up big and clutch. And Grim is just, unfortunately, gets chunked down off the Qs from there. So
yeah, I mean, Hazem honestly just played that one super well. Even Riddy getting there just barely too late on the rotations as the Camille able to take that fight there. I'm sure Grim anticipated the Gwen to show up a little bit earlier than that point, but in the meantime, bot lane, we're getting quite a bit of action over here. Really want to make sure to put as much gold into the Zeri, but more importantly, put Keyboarder as behind as possible, because we saw just how rough it got when Keyboarder did get a lead.
Yeah, for sure. And they want to starting to kind of stuff the light out of this MF, which is typically your game plan going up against Zeri. You want to push her out of lane as much as possible. We saw early on that that's what was happening, but Prowl found the perfect gank angle, wrapped around, and was able to come in. While Riddy was there for the counter gank, it was just a little bit too late. And unfortunately did not have the timing to be able to save the bot side. And now things are starting to move into favor of Dorado for the bot side for the first time in this series as a whole. Meanwhile, neutral objectives are up and on the map. Brow started up this dragon. Xayah can clear this exponentially fast with those plants, but the foot grubs are starting to get traded on off. Riddy comes on up. Needlework onto Hazem, looking to be able to clean up this top side laner. Needlework 2, one more into the pockets, gonna hit that shield of Hazem, and maybe gets the slingshot out of here. The escape artist Hazem on the Camille.
Yeah, the hook shot just barely managing to slip on past Grim and Riddy there. And just like that, Hazem able to survive, and Void Bloods absolutely cannot be taken by Riddy right now.
No, wow. No, it's all starting to fall apart this game for AKM. It's not looking very pretty for them in the early game, at least. Dorado are coming up big. You know, Hazem just says, yeah, you're going to gank me. Now I'm going to come down and gank you on your Void Grubs when you try to get these trade-offs. And look at Prowl, already in the top side after clearing the dragon, can move down and take these last remaining 2 Void Grubs if he decides to. I don't see a reason realistically why not to, other than the fact that Riddy is already back on the map and on that top side can be contested. But right now, if Hazem is recalling, so So maybe Prow, was a little bit scared to kind of go for that because Vietnamese Caps and Grim do have a little bit of an angle to respond for if Riddy does decide to move to retake that objective.
But as the game continues to quiet down, like Cilantro's mic, we're going to have to see what does happen for the Akuma sides here, right? As, Dorado Gaming Gamma in that last game did, fall behind super far. They decided, you know what, game's over. Let's just FF. Let's move on to the next game. Let's just fully recapture what we need to do in order to get back into things. But in the meantime, top lane's just continuing on the 1v1s.
All out comes out of Grim. No Hex Tech ultimatum was committed there, but Grim is desperately low on HP, cannot continue to fight this. It looked like it could have realistically went either way, but after the all out was committed and the Hex Tech ultimatum had not been, Grim understands that he's not in a winning scenario in that lane for the time being. But meanwhile, we haven't really talked about it much this game because they are on the 80 carries. Look at this mid lane. Look at the CS that Caps has over Kerrigan right now, forcing out this Ezreal out of lane. Time and time again, picking up this plating. He's going to be the 80 carry. He's going to be able to step up and help provide that damage where Keyboarder, who's been put a little bit behind right now, may not be able to. That's the power of having these double 80 carry compositions where one falls, another one can kind of pick it on up. Well, Keyboarder's still able to put out that damage later on. Just going to be a little bit more difficult, like you mentioned earlier. The bullet time is kind of going to be where he needs to make these impacts, but it's going to be a lot harder as the enemy's Caps finds a kill onto Kerrigan. Proud has to commit the flash and Stranglethorns to kill him.
Yeah, and Stranglethorns right before this fight in the bot lane could be big here, but as we can see, Nukes is just very willing to walk straight up, not looking to make anything happen. Riddy on the side.
Not enough mana, realistically, Keyboarder to commit bullet time, so instead they're just going to go for the full disengage. Odin tries to find the full-on engage there. Solar Flare comes straight on down to another Zenith Blade, straight onto On Your Chest, maybe caught out here in a 1v3, gets the Dredge line. The bullet time is massive. Nukes ticking away by the Ignite. The barrier had to be procced, and he ends up falling, and Riddy finds the kill off the needlework onto the enemy support as well. That could be the opener to get this bot lane back in the game.
Yeah, and just like that, Riddy in the right place at the right time, but more importantly, On Your Chest, beautiful turnaround with the Nautilus, immediately makes that snap decision to turn around that fight, to turn around the game here, and Akuma sides now with a gold lead, going to continue to push this lead as far as possible. Vietnamese Caps still having the upper hand on Kerrigan in this mid lane. It has been very rough for this mid laner, for Dorado Gaming. But in the meantime, top lane, still a decent lead for the side of Hazem as Grim just continuing to try to push this lead. But look at this. On Your Chest, getting jumped on, flashes to the side, immediate dredge line, root, and ignite onto Nukes, making sure that there's no chance of getting on out. The flash is burned away from the Zeri as well as the barrier, but no amount of movement on the planet is saving you from that damage.
Yeah, all three Void Groves will be picked up. Well, all three in that sequence will be picked up. I feel like it's bumped a... Is it... Wait, that's the second set of Void Groves. Didn't Riddy get one in the first set? Shouldn't he be at 4?
No, Riddy instantly died.
No, I thought he killed the first one, though, before ganking topside. That's...
Maybe. Oh, you know what? I think Riddy only took 2 of them.
Either way, I feel like he should be... Oh, 2 of them... I don't know.
On the second set.
It might be... Yeah, he might have only taken away
yeah,
2.
there was a red dot on the minimap for a short bit, so he only took 2 of them on the second set. So, right now, it is going to be 3 Void Grudds for the side of Akuma. And on the other side here, now that Misfortune has the fully finished Bloodthirster, Keyboarder gets significantly harder to kill. I mean, with that overheal shield, there's going to be so much movement speed on this Misfortune here, especially with tier 1 boots and the strut available. But look at this fight.
Yeah, Riddy sat inside the banana bush with the control ward, waiting for Proud to come up out of the bot lane, waiting for that pincer movement. Vietnamese Caps comes in with the culling too. It was perfectly executed to gain this Riverside prio and positioning and stop this early dragon stack scaling. This jungler is coming up big with On Your Chest as well to come out for this Akuma team as the death charge is massive. Nukes rid it up. The Ignite maybe not enough to be able to clean them up this time around, but enough to find some sort of potential tower dive. And they've got to respect that if they are Dorado, because this tower is completely gone.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was worried about when it came to the draft, right? The moment I saw Zeri, don't get me wrong, I love Zeri. Zeri's genuinely one of my favorite champions, and she's incredibly strong on this patch here, especially as a mid laner, just does so much work for the team here. But Akuma sides already had picked up the Nautilus. Zeri playing into Nautilus gets very difficult. At the very least, when you do have a 2v2 into Nautilus, you have to delay the fight, right? Because that depth charge, that dredge line gets so
look
difficult.
At On Your Chest.
Grim,
On Your Chest and Riddy are there for the counter gank. Grim is potentially in trouble, but knows that he's completely safe. All out's going to be committed as well as the String of Thorns. So the dredge line's going to end up going wide, trying to find out Hazem. Nukes and Odin maybe wanting to come on over the wall. On Your Chest gets the ward off into the tri-bush. Flash out of Odin to land that Zenith blade, but On Your Chest just going to give up their life to help Grim and Riddy escape.
Yeah, and just like that, it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade there. Jungler for support here. In the meantime, Vietnamese Caps gonna continue this solo lane Prius. Like, I just gotta say, right? This is absolutely insane from Vietnamese Caps. The man has continually won out these solo lanes every single time. He could literally write a masterclass on this man's laning here as the Lucian is just running away with this one. You look at this and you say, all right, we opt for the double marksman. But right now, Kerrigan is just not getting a chance to really play the game, right? Still looking for that first item, still looking to finish that Triforce. In the meantime, Vietnamese Caps already halfway done with that second item, very close to that fully finished. I believe that's going to be an Essence Reaver, but in the meantime, Riddy, using all of that priority, is going to be able to pick up the full-on Rift Herald.
Yep, and where do we realistically take this? Topside has got to be it. All the mid-Kelvin tier 1s have been taken across the map realistically, either by Vietnamese Caps or Keyboarder was able to find one there too. Meanwhile, Hazem has to post that Hextech. Did he just cancel the Hextech ultimatum by going into the Rift Herald? Holy,
oh my god.
Riddy is absolutely a goat right now. He's on fire with this game. I mean, I knew you could do stuff like that, but wow, I was not expecting it to come out. Now he's just going to be able to use it as the Drift King.
Oh my god.
Oh no, it does get stunned up. Flashes, and does not flash forward, just goes forward with the W just to be able to get the soul off. But oh my, Riddy is a legend right now.
Yeah, I mean, usually using the Rift Herald to run away leaves your own teammate behind there, but Riddy going to use it to also cancel Hazem's hookshot. I mean, Camille not having a good time here as right now Hextech ultimatum about to be put in there and times it so well. Looks to get the damage on that top tower as well. Takes the entire tower, so you get a reset onto that Rift Herald. But in the meantime, quick pause, you know, Kerrigan, as we saw for a short moment, was standing still for a little bit. Vietnamese Caps, it seems, is taking advantage of it.
And there's no rules against it. There's no rules against it. You know.
Yeah, you got to pause earlier, man.
Yeah,
but
you know. I know.
Yeah, sometimes the 1v1 just turns into the 1v1. But in the meantime, that top lane replay, right? I will say the fact that Riddy's, you know, immediate refresh on the dash ends up canceling the hook shot from Hazem just is such a tilter, right? If you're Hazem right now, there's two ways that you could respond to this. But honestly, so route number one is, man, you know what? You got me, right? I did my best, but sometimes that's just how it is. But honestly, after that last game, I would not be surprised if, yeah, like I said, Kerrigan's not getting to play the game.
Even if he reconnects, I think he's dead anyway.
He is literally dead. The culling shot is in the air. Goodbye, Kerrigan.
Yeah, yeah. So when he reconnects, he will be dead. But if I'm looking at it, has them that top side Hextech ultimatum getting canceled? I'm like, what the hell? You can do that? Like that's what I'm like. I'm like, seriously? Because like I've learned new things about this Rift Herald time and time and time and time again. I've seen many clips on TikTok, many things in pro play of people using it as an escape tool, and I like that it's like a new avenue of something in the game. I've seen people use it as knockups just to like enable Yasuo plays. Like the amount of things you could do with this new Rift Herald just make the game that more fun and that more intuitive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Rift Herald plays are definitely going to be mad fun. I also will say, when you are doing observing, watching Rift Herald just, go across the map, real close up and getting all that Tokyo drift in there, it's a lot of fun, right? But, all that being said, right? So this game started off with Dorado Gaming Gamma making their statement plays, making their comebacks, making their opportunities known here, right? They're saying we are not going to go quietly into the night. But as the game continues on, it's starting to get rougher and rougher for this squad. I mean, the top lane advantage that they had with those solo kills coming in from Hazem are essentially gone, right? The tower is gone. Riddy was able to get some good gold into the pocket of his top laner. And in the bot lane, those dredge lines, those death charges have been so instrumental at turning around the entirety of the, not only the play of this team, but also the entire momentum of this team here. And the Akuma sides, honestly, have their support to thank for so much setup.
Yeah, we were talking about this MF. Okay, very high mobile composition that Dorado drafted. Okay, with bullet time, gonna be a win condition. How do we play realistically around it? We draft Nautilus, right? If Nautilus gets a depth charge, it maybe knocks up 2 people at the same time. That's 3 seconds.
That's a win.
Yeah, that's 3 seconds they're getting hit by bullet time, and that's enough damage to chunk down these squishy champions. That's enough damage for someone else to come in and get the cleanup. Maybe you get the bullet time comes off, you get enough time to follow up with a Q auto, and you get the kills yourself on the MF. So that the Nautilus is realistically the savior for this win condition, as we're back into the game. Kerrigan is alive somehow.
Okay.
Don't know how.
I mean,
but Kerrigan is alive.
Vietnamese Caps gonna play it super. I guess it's the honorable thing, right?
Yeah,
just like,
maybe he just didn't kill him.
I don't want it to be like that. And you can see Kerrigan's health bar literally super ultra low, right? And it's not going to be the biggest detriment here, because on one side, Kerrigan has to back, has to reset, has to recall. On the other side, Vietnamese Caps burns an ultimate, right? I mean, that is a cooldown that you have to pay attention to. So, as you can see right here, we all had pretty much said, yeah, this is the end, this is it. The pause comes through and it's like, you know what? I could totally do this, but I'm not going to. Right?
Would you?
Vietnamese cat, good guy, Vietnamese cat.
Would you do it? Would you do it
after the pause? No, before the pause. Whoops.
Oh, before the pause, I would.
Taking advantage of it, but after the pause, that's just a scumbag move,
I agree. Before the pause, yeah. After the pause, no. I would.
But yeah, I mean, the tower does go down, but it's sometimes disconnecting. Really, what can you do? Right? I'm honestly surprised that it hasn't turned into a full-on kill, as just like that flash dredge line didn't turn into one. Prow able to just walk away from that. I was expecting to see the flash dodge in response there, but in the meantime, keyboarder and on your chest just gonna push down this mid lane. As what in the world is going on in bot?
Vietnamese Caps is getting ganked on. And ends up falling. Odin and Hazem able to find the kill while Riddy's camping into the bush. Wants to continue to push this forward with the keyboarder. And on your chest gets stunned up by the solar flare coming straight on down. But Odin's already fallen. This will be a 3v2 even with the TP coming in. Kerrigan's coming in, landing those mystic shots. The hook shot, not able to find a stun off. But the depth shot, depth charge is coming straight on down into the bullet time. Is enough damage to maybe chunk out Hazem.
Zyra?
No, not yet. Zyra Stranglethorns are going to be a good burst damage tool as Grim goes with the all out. Finding Prow. The kill is gifted on over to Keyboarder. Barely has them escape with their life. Nukes stepping a little bit too far forward against the Cassante. Has to proc the barrier. W going forward. Flash. Maybe one more Q. Grim desperately for it. Trying to get it. Finally gets it. TP coming on in. That's going to be Vietnamese Caps back into this fight. Firing shots left, right, and forward. Maybe trying to bounce this one in return. But unfortunately, Culling coming out on the Kerrigan this time. Not going to be DCing to save his life.
Yeah, and this time, Vietnamese Caps going to be able to get that one kill, but another 1v1 here. Hazem now just barely able to get slightly out of vision, but Vietnamese Caps with the plays on the Lucian, able to save the fight for Akuma. It started with Vietnamese Caps going down, and it ends with Vietnamese Caps, the sole man standing. And just like that, we go all around the world with that team fight, and it all comes back to the beginning here. And we can see it right now, right? The E not going to be the one there. It's the Hextech ultimatum immediately from Hazem to fully guarantee the kill onto Vietnamese Caps here. In the meantime, Riddy walks forward, gets a ton of damage onto Odin, but as you can see, the full-on team fight once again, just play after play after play. But look at the bottom right here. We're getting even more of a team fight over here.
Yeah, Odin ends up falling, Treasure straight onto Prowl. The Stranglethorn's not going to be able to find Vietnamese Caps, but on your chest is able to live this one on out. Vietnamese Caps with the Coley finds Prowl. This man is absolutely putting in the shots. Like, holy, he's got 2 Glocks with 18-round mags over there. I swear to God, he's just going fully automatic on the side of in Dorado Gaming's face, and now they're going to turn and move straight on towards this Baron take. They do take it extremely fast with these double 80 carries, and now whereas sitting at the 4K gold, the double dragon stacked up for Akuma, it's not looking very good for the side of Dorado Gaming. What started out very strong has swung back once again to the favor of Akuma.
Yeah, and look at that damage on the Baron, just able to instantly pop that one. And right now, we're hitting some incredibly powerful item breakpoints here. I mean, the 2.5 items, the moment that you get to 3, Akuma are just constantly in a position to threaten every single point of the map, despite the fact that you got a Zeri on one side, not going to be the fastest champion in the game, as Misfortune with the overheal shield, with the strut, with the Swifty boots, is literally just walking circles around absolutely everyone. Odin looking to try to make something happen as Kerrigan is still on the side here.
And it's played straight onto Grim, though, of all people, not realistically the tank you want to be engaged upon. Ushop Barrage going to go wide, just for maybe trying to clear up this wave. They're trying to save this mid-tier 2 as long as possible, but the Baron-powered wave is starting to roll on in. Both 80 carries rolling up to this tower. It's not realistically going to live that much longer. Now maybe they're going to go for a little bit of a split here. Get the 4-1 split off. They want to go take this top side tier 2, at least leave somebody to keep continuing the pressure on this mid lane cryo. They don't really want it to push past this chokehold point. The wave's going to be coming back, though, so they're going to set their entire sights on taking this top side tier 2. Hazem engaging the charge straight onto Vietnamese Caps, but the backup, it started to roll on in. Hazem has fallen. Kerrigan pushing up forward, trying to go for the cleanup. It's not going to be able to find this. Stranglethorn's only going to be able to knock up Riddy, and it's a triple kill across the board for the side of Akuma. TP is coming on into the mid lane. Is this going to be it? Is this the game? Have Akuma found the angle to win out the series 3-0? It's possible, but it's not over until it is completely over. 2 Nexus turrets stand within their them and their chances at the semifinals. They're going to move up, take the top side inhibitor as well. They got about 15 seconds until Hazem, Prow, and Kerrigan are back onto the map. Is it going to be enough time for them to take out these turrets? They still got the Baron? No, they're going to go ahead and take the safe route out. They don't want to take any chances in this final map.
Yeah, and honestly, I commend them for that, right? I mean, you've already got 2 games under your belt. It is the very, very end of the playoff run for Dorado Gaming Gamma if the Akuma sides play this properly. So why not take the 110% play, right? I mean, your team scales particularly nicely. You're not falling behind at all. You just got so much gold into your pockets here. So just back off, look for the eventual push onto that bot side. Look for that 3 inhib play here. Dragon slowly coming up in less than a minute here, which also means that if the Dorado Gaming Gamma squad do try to make something happen around this drag, they will be ready first and foremost.
Or sure, now they're starting to pressure out this bot side. The last inhibitor turret and inhibitor remaining across the map. They don't realistically need to turn to fight this dragon anytime soon. They want to make full use of the remaining objectives across the map. The TP coming on into the tower. That's going to be Kerrigan coming in. The Zenith Blade. The Dredge Line out of in retention. And the bullet time. It does so much damage. Odin, the next on the list to fall. It's a 5v3. And it's smelling like GG across the board. Hexic Ultimatum maybe trying to go at least 1-for-1 SSM. Flashes on out away. And oh boy, it's 4 into the base against just 1. It's all down to just Hazem to save the game, save out this base. Keyboarder just clearing up the last remaining inhibitor as Grim is putting out the work on to these turrets. AKM, Hazem already saying it's GG, nothing realistically he can do, as AKM are going to take this series 3-0 and move on to the semi-finals. I believe we know who they're playing against. Let me check real quick.
It is going, from what I understand, it is Omega Yeatless. On the other side, actually no, it's not Omega Yeatless. Omega Yeatless on the other side, but either way, the Akuma sides with a 3-0. Game number 1 was back and forth. Game number 2 was an absolute stomp. And game number 3 started off looking really, really rough for the Akuma sides. Dorado Gaming Gamma had their second win, had their opportunity. They had everything in place. But in the end, Akuma sides going to find a way to take it 3-0 off of the backs of Vietnamese caps on this Lucian. Most damage in the game, most control over the map here. I mean, so much of this really on this mid laner, who I said at the beginning of the series, this man is their rock. This man is their comfort. This man is the #1 person to watch for, to be like, I don't care how bad the game is going. Vietnamese caps, at the very least, will be doing fine.
Yep, and to me, my MVP of the series goes out to Riddy, because, we talked about Vietnamese caps, we talked about Keyboarder. On Your Chest put up an absolute performance, and so did Grim. But Riddy, most likely, pulling the team back, say, hey, let's try and force these plays. Made a couple of Fog of War plays into the bot side with the ganks on this Gwen, and was able to take top side, at least the 3 avoid grubs. Did his best to help pull this team back. I mean, the Gwen was really coming alive in game number 3, and in the first 2 games of this series as well, just putting on a clinical performance. So I gotta give it to the jungler of AKM. Who knows? Maybe they are the lead shot caller behind the scenes as well. So to see if Riddy's the one calling those plays to orchestrate a comeback in game number 3 like that too, that's 100% an MVP worthy performance in my book. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, barring an interview, we would not have any sort of idea as to what we do. I'm not 100% certain if we are doing an interview here, but at the very least, that's a question for Chris Sanga, if you can answer that one for me in a bit. But in In the meantime,
We're gonna
right,
assume no.
Akuma sides with a 3-0 over Dorado Gaming Gamma. Definitely got to be feeling good for the Akuma sides over here as they move on to the Immortal League playoff semifinals. So thank you everyone for tuning in to watch this series, and make sure to tune in to watch the rest of the Titan Esports broadcast throughout the week. We'll get an answer as to whether or not we're getting that interview in just a bit. But thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you Procomps for sponsoring. And thank you Akuma for that spicy as hell show that you put on tonight.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side. My love. what you never do. Sugar,